Hi, I'm a kitchen novice, and in this video I'm going to try and make gluten-free onion rings. So the first step is to chop the onions. Now, I have tried chopping onions before, but this needs a very particular way. My wife has already given me a demonstration. Now let's try and have a go myself. So firstly, I've got to saw the end of that off. Let's now take off the skin, because it's kind of papery, isn't it? Let's try and find, it's like trying to take off, oh, there are the tears. You can come up here for a moment. I've got some tears in my eyes, you can probably see as I'm trying to, oh, that's tough. Yes, it's like trying to find the end of sellotape, isn't it? Oh, that's really stingy. Now I know why I haven't chopped onions for a long time. I mean, it must be somewhere in the region of 15-20 years at least since I chopped an onion. It's funny, I haven't actually cut it properly for the rings, but I'm crying already. So come down here and I'm going to try and just saw that through there. I don't think it matters too much about the variation in thickness at this stage. I'm going to make sure not to cut my finger. If anybody has any tips on what to do, then let me know. So my wife has suggested doing it like that. I'm not going to argue, because the other way I was probably going to hurt myself. Oh dear, I've had to go away a little bit because those tear ducts are really working overtime. My eyes are really stinging. So I'm just going to push these out like this. So the onion side of it, after a few breaks, has been prepared. This is the result of 2 onions. I chopped one and my wife did one as a demonstration to me. So we're going to use both of those in this recipe, and now it's time to make the batter. So firstly, 1/2 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of sparkling water, 1 egg, which I'm going to attempt to break in here without getting any shell into the mixture. That looks successful. 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and lastly a sprinkle of salt. Welcome back to the wide shot. Just going to whisk this all together now. I guess I could use a machine for this, but let's just do it by hand. So the next step is I've put the oil in the frying pan. I've also preheated the oven to 200, so that's the last thing that we'll tend to. But first let's take these onions that we did earlier, and we're going to put them in the batter mixture like that, and we're going to mix them round in just a moment. So let's just try and do this gently. Just immerse the batter with the onion rings, trying not to break them. Probably prepared just one too many in here. So let's pick out the onion rings that are immersed in there and stick them on that. So we're just putting the first batch in there, and we're going to cook them for about 1 minute to 90 seconds and then turn them over. And now we'll just turn them over, or at least try to, with a pair of tongs. Wow, that's hard, isn't it? I'm just playing with my food at the moment, don't mind me. So I finally managed to turn them over using a little hack that my wife taught me. You're supposed to clutch them like that. So in the pan again for another minute and a half, and then we'll take them out. This looks like the batter's a little bit thin, so what we might do in a minute is just put some flour into the mixture, stir that in, make it a tiny bit thicker, and maybe they'll start to look even more like onion rings. Let's try and take these out, put those onto the pan. I've put half a cup of flour into the mixture. Or is it a quarter? I don't know. I'm using this half cup measure. You'll have to excuse me, my terminology and wordiness in cooking is still not right, but I think that's slightly thicker than it was, and coating those onions even more. Certainly. It's funny, I think personally what I would have done was take the onions and dip them in like that to immerse them, but this, you know, does it if you don't want to get your hands dirty. Right, let's just put in another load, so that really does make it a half, or does it? I'm not sure anymore. There we are, let's just thicken this up. I do miss onion rings sometimes because I live in a gluten-free household, and obviously when you buy them from the shop or you get them at a pub or a restaurant, they won't be gluten-free. So if this works, because this is a little bit of an experiment based on a recipe that I saw online, then onion rings all round, really. So I put some more oil in the pan and let it heat for a while. Got it on 5. Just going to reach in there and take the ones out that are on the bottom. Now these seem a lot more immersed in that. Trying to be careful, but at the same time just want to get on with it. So we'll put about 5 in there, and that mixture is much thicker than last time. Much thicker. I mean, look at my fingers, like this is a much denser mixture. So hopefully they'll look even more like onion rings. So we're just coming up to 90 seconds on this fry, so let's try and turn them around again. Turn them over. Just like that, and you can see, oh yeah, that's much more of an onion ring, not quite so thin. So let's take this batch off, put them on the tray. That's easier than before, isn't it? And we'll maybe do one more batch before they go in the oven, and maybe they'll puff out a bit at the sides and obviously cook the onion through. Now this obviously was a mistake because I put it in there. I mean, obviously, you know, if you like just random onion, then go ahead. Let's put the last batch in. I mean, it doesn't have to be the last batch. I could make some more because this is quite easy. One of the reasons that people don't like onions obviously is the smell, and there is definitely an aroma of onion in here. I'm just waiting for this second batch to, or was it third batch? I'm losing count, to finish, and then we're going to put them onto the tray in the oven, and they'll bake for a little while. I'll be more specific on that in a minute. Right, let's put the last one of those on there. So now let's put it in the oven for 6 minutes. And see what they come out like when they're finished, obviously. About halfway through cooking these now, and they're looking pretty good in there, if I do say so myself. I'm surprised. As I thought, it looks like it's puffed out a little bit. Can't wait to try them now. So they've been in there for about 6 minutes now. Let's take them out. Put them on top there. Oh. And they look like they're ready to serve. So yeah, let's do that. So I'm now joined by my wife. Let's try this now. Just pick one out and we'll try it without dip first. That's nice and crunchy.
And the onion inside's so tender.
Yeah, definitely. But one thing I miss about onion rings is that crunchiness. Obviously these aren't all uniform, but I think with some practice you could probably get it just as much, but then home cooked it doesn't need to be, does it? So let's try. This is Newman's own vegan ranch dip.
Well, that worked.
The onion really complements that, and the sort of garlickiness of that.
I think I'd like to try a crispy one, like a thin one.
Yeah.
And see the difference, because that's like a meaty one that I tried before.
And that works?
Yeah.
To me, I associate, you know, onion rings with being sort of puffy like that. But you say that the thin and crispy works well?
I think both work. I think it's nice actually having a mixture, because then you get like that really crispy bite, and then you get the more kind of oniony, juicy kind of bite too.
Well, I would call that a success. Obviously with gluten-free it is a bit trial and error, and since I'm not that experienced with it, I'm sure you could do a much better job than me because you're more experienced. But please do try this recipe and let me know how you get on. Please do click the thumbs up and comment and subscribe for more cooking videos and experiences. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye for now.